So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the NinjaTrader 8 demo account and as well as the charts. So you have your charts exactly set up like mine. And then of course the at the money strategy so you can trade fluidly. Now, if you already have a demo account set up, you can definitely skip ahead in the video to actually see how I set up my charts or the at the money strategy. Now, to actually set up an account, you're not going to want to go to the NinjaTrader and just open an account. You're actually going to want to either Google NinjaTrader demo account and it will come up with this link, or I will put this link in the description below for you so you can then easily find it, because setting up a demo account is actually, you don't have to put any money in, but if you want to open up an account, you're going to have to deposit money into NinjaTrader. So all you're going to do is you're just going to fill out your info and then just go and say that you're not a robot and submit, and then make sure you are also selecting futures up here because we are trading futures. And then this is going to process and send you an email with how to set that up. And then so before that, you do want to go, it's going to redirect you to this page and you're going to want to select NinjaTrader 8 and then download the NinjaTrader platform onto your computer. And then you don't need to look at this connection guide. I will help you with that. So you should get 2 emails and one of them will have your login credentials. Now, once you have the NinjaTrader all downloaded, just open it up and it should come up with this screen right here. Now, this is definitely a little different than some normal brokerage platforms. When I first opened this, it was very confusing. So how we actually got it, we have to connect to get market data. So we're going to want to go up here to connections, and then we want to go to configure. And so there's all these connections here. We're going to want to go to the NinjaTrader continuum, and you can just double click this or click add down here. And so this is going to give us our connection here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to take this username and then this password here and just copy and paste those in. And then all these settings here, you can just leave. We can name this as just my demo account. And then that is gonna, we can click apply. And then this is gonna just bring up a disclaimer. And then over here, you can see now we have that named. We can click OK. And then you're gonna want to actually tell it to connect to my demo account. Now, I think one more configuration you can have is you wanna, if we go back to the settings here, you wanna actually click connect on startup. I'm just gonna leave this unchecked because I have my normal account I connect to, but on this, if this is your main connection, you wanna have it connect on startup just so you don't have to tell it to connect every time. It'll just automatically, when you open up the platform, it'll connect here and then it'll, open up the normal settings that you normally have. And so this is gonna have our accounts here. So these are our 2 demo accounts. This is the one we just made. So here is my 2 other accounts I have on my other account. And so this is our demo account and the one you will probably see. And so with these demo accounts, you cannot actually reset them. So if we just right click on the demo account, you can't go in here and reset this. You can add and change your commissions if you want to try and make it a little more real. But unlike, so when you have a real account, you can make simulated accounts and edit them and reset them. But so just keep in mind that with your demo account, they are starting to lock down on how many demo accounts you can create. So don't go in and just trade 1,000 lots or 100 contracts, because if you do blow up your demo account, you are gonna have to go make another one and you might have to use a different email and stuff. So that could be kind of annoying. Just try and make it as real as possible and stick to trading 1 contract at a time, or how many you plan to actually do. So we're just going to leave this as okay. Now, futures are not quite like stocks, right? Futures have expiration dates. And so you need to be changing the symbol that you're trading every quarter or every 3 months. You can't just leave the symbol in there. Like on TOS, you can just do \ES and it will change it for you. But on NinjaTrader, you need to update it every 3 months. So either that is on the chart, you can put in the correct ticker symbol, or under tools here, if we go to database management, you can see right now here we are on the current the current one is 320. And so that means that this expires on March 20th. So that is generally a Friday. So come the Monday after that expiration, you're going to want to start using this new contract, which is 620. And so in here, if you have a new account, this should be up to date. But if you have an old account, you're going to want to update these, and it will update the instruments to the current one. It didn't change it here because we're already up to date, but that will change it for you automatically. Or in the chart, what you can also do is just type in this ticker symbol to the chart, and it will do that for you as well. And so to actually make a chart, we're going to want to go to this new tab up here and then click on chart. And so this is just going to give us a few settings. And so our instrument here, that's just going to be our ticker, and we're going to want to do the ES320. And so we can actually pin this so that's always at the top there. And so when we get to the next contract wherein it's going to be 0620, we're going to want to change this, and so update that. So right here, this is if you have a custom template and you can just paste that onto a new chart. But so here, this is what it looks like making a default one. So price, we always want that on last. Pretty much all these settings you can leave the same. But for a type, we're going to want to go to tick chart because we're using a tick chart, and then change this to 2000. And then days, you can just leave this on 3. And then pretty much all these settings you can leave about the same too. A lot of this is personal preference in terms of colors and all that. And so we're just going to click OK, and it's going to open a chart over here for us. And so this is pretty much the basic kind of setting up of a chart. And so first off, what we're going to want to do is you can just right click on a chart, and we're going to want to add that 21 EMA. So we're just going to go to indicators. And then you can't search on here, so it's gonna be alphabetized, but you can't search. So you're gonna have to scroll down to EMA. So here we are. Here's the EMA. Just double click that, and then over here you just change it to 21. And then all these settings you pretty much leave them the same. And then you can change it to the color of your choice. NinjaTrader has a ton of different colors that you can use. And so I like blue, but of course that is completely up to you. Now, another one we want to add is because on toss, the tick counter is already there. We're going to have to add this on toss as well. So we can go down here and do tick counter and then hit apply. And so that is going to allow us to see the countdown. And so it's already set to countdown, which I like because it kind of counts to 0. So you can easily know when a bar is about to be finished, because we like to trade and know based on a freshly made bar, not an active bar. And so once we hit OK, that'll all be there. And then another big thing is we want to change the grid lines. We want the horizontal grid lines to show 1 point, so we can actually see what a 1 point scalp looks like. So if I right click on the Y axis over here and click properties, you're going to want to go here on horizontal grid lines, change this to fixed, and it should default already to 1 point. And then we can just click apply, and you can see that now for every 1 point, if I just zoom this out, for every 1 point here, we can have a horizontal grid line. So for when we're scalping, we can see that we can make that 1 point. Now, right now, the market is extremely volatile. This is not a normal day in the market. The market doesn't easily move up 100 points or 50 points in half an hour. Normally these lines will be a lot larger on the chart when we're in normal market conditions. So these lines look a little silly right now, but when the market is in normal conditions for scalping, this will make a lot more sense. Now, another thing is drawing tools, right? So we like to use drawing tools. So if you just right click, you can see there are a ton of different drawing tools. And so the main ones I like to use are the line drawing tool right here. Just a quick, this allows you to just draw easy support or resistance lines. Another one is, if we go to drawing tools again, we have the horizontal grid line. That's nice for if you just have a low for the day, right? So if you just say, oh, here's the low for the day, I just want to keep track of that as the day progresses. And you can see, you know, it's hitting that low quite a few times, right? And then the other one is channels. And so channels, this can just be drawing for, visualizing a channel. And then what you're going to want to do is you can change these. So if you double click on any of these drawings, it'll bring up the properties. And so if you have multiple charts here, this is how you can have it show up on multiple charts. When you draw this and it's under here, it'll automatically show up on all charts. So if you have another chart on another screen, this line as you're drawing it will automatically appear on that other screen. And then here you can change the colors of the lines. And then down here, you can save that default. So you always have to, it won't save the default for you. You have to go to the template and save. And then you can just save as default, and that will come up for you. And then every time you use that now, it'll be a default. Now, one thing with the channels is it's good to add a midline for a channel. So if you scroll down on the properties, you just want to go to that 50 line, and that should be default there. But if it's not, you're going to want to add, and then it will add that for you right here. And then you can just change the settings there as well. And so that's pretty much all for drawings. Now, one thing is with drawings is you can actually add hotkeys. And so this makes it really easy for drawing quickly. So without having to, right click, I can just, with hotkeys, I can just add my drawings really easily. Now, so how you do that is if we bring up just the main demo screen or the main menu screen again, it's under tools, I believe, and then hotkeys right here. And so there are a ton of hotkeys, and I would just suggest doing just the major ones of those drawings like you have. So here under drawings, you can see there are a ton of hotkeys. Now, I don't use hotkeys on all these things. I just use on those 3 drawings just so it's easy to put those in. And you can set those up to draw how you like. And so I just have the line is Control 1. I think a channel is Control 2. And then the horizontal line right here is Control 3. And that's just super easy for me, Control 1, 2, and 3. And so that makes it easy for the hotkeys. Now, that's pretty much it for setting up your chart. Now, if we go up here, once you have your chart set up and we go up here, this is where you can change your ticker. So you can also type it in. So if you come to the rollover date and you don't want to have to do that update or anything, you can just go up here and type in 0620, which is the next rollover date, and then you'd press enter. Now, one thing on NinjaTrader is you have to put in a 0 before this 6. It has to always be in this configuration. If you put in no 0, so if I do this, the current expiration, if I just did 320, it's not going to come up with 1. It's going to say invalid. You're going to have to put a 0 in here to actually come up with the correct ticker. So one thing I like to do is I like to have my main chart kind of zoomed in, looking at the past, recent price action, right? But it's good to have an overall visualization of what the day is happening and the overall trend. And so I like to have one chart that's kind of zoomed in that I'm using actually to trade, and then another chart that's kind of zoomed out to see the overall trend and what's happening throughout the day. So an easy way to do that is just up here on charts, just right click and do duplicate window. And then I leave all the settings the same. The only setting I do change is if we go to the x-axis and properties, I just change the horizontal grid lines to be 10 points. So this kind of gives you an easier visualization of how many points the market is moving throughout the day. And again, because today is super volatile, you can see there we're moving tens of points. We're moving having 50 point swings, and that's not normal. Usually you're having 10 point swings throughout the day. And so when the market is crazy like this, these horizontal grid lines give you that visualization very easily. If you don't have the grid lines, it's kind of hard to see that you have that huge volatility and how big each candle is. And so that's why the horizontal grid lines are very helpful. So one thing here is if you want to save this workspace so you have a default space that opens up every time, and that in case you make any changes, you want to always have a default, there will be this untitled here then you can click save or save as. Now, if you want to create new, it will actually, if you create new here and we, say day trading setup, it will refresh everything. So if I close everything here, it'll exit out all of that. And then that's when you start from scratch. So just be aware of that. If you say new, it's not going to save what you have. It's going to actually try and make you a fresh new setup, and then you'll start from there. So make sure to save your setup first to this untitled, and you can also just save as and change the name so you don't actually lose that chart setup you just went through making. So now that we're all set up, we can actually start talking about entering trades. So we're going to want to go to the chart trader up here and then click on the chart trader that's solid. And so what this is going to do is it's going to bring up our demo account. And so we can switch to our demo account here. And this is just going to be the basic order type. And so we haven't made any settings here. So this is just an easy way to buy into the market or sell the market. And this allows you to, this brings up these settings here. So when we right clicked on before, there wasn't these buy market or buy limit orders. There was just, the drawings and everything. Now, what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure you have the right account. You're going to want to put your time in force to good till canceled. And this just makes it so your orders will always be open. So in case you have a runner that you want to leave overnight for some reason, is your order won't be canceled by accident. And you won't have, a contract out there without any stop loss, and you won't have unlimited risk in that potential way. So you can change your order quantity here. So this would just be how many contracts you want to trade. We can just quickly right click and change or buy or sell at what we want. So one thing we want to do as well is you can see there are no crosshairs. So it's hard to tell what price we're actually on. What you want to do is you want to just right click on the chart and go to crosshairs. And so you can do just local here. And so that brings us to crosshairs. And what that's really helpful with is seeing what price you're going to be entering at. So if we wanted to buy above this bar right here, we want to make sure we're buying at 50 right there, right? So we'd want to do a buy stop, and then that order is now put in there. That order is a buy stop. And if the market comes up and taps this, it will fill our order. And then the same, if you do a sell stop, we can right click here and we put a sell stop below that bar. And then this will just enter us in a trade if the market hits one of these areas. And so you can see here we are in that trade and it did reverse on us. And so here you can see this is how much you're down. And so this isn't dollar values, this is tick values. And in the ES, each tick is 12.50. So what we can do here is if I just go back in that trade, we can right click here on at the money strategies. And then you can change that setting here, display units. And so you can change it to a few different things. Generally, you'll either want ticks, points, or currency. And so currency, that'll actually show you a dollar value. Now, I would suggest keeping it at points just so you don't have that money value going against you. So, you can see when you're down 1 point, that's going to say down $50 or down 2 points. And that can be emotionally triggering to you, and it might make you want to get out of a trade sooner. So leave this on points. It just makes it so there's that less of a dollar value. Think about it. It's just more, it makes it more robotic and not as much of a real tangible thing that will cause you to have emotional swings potentially. Now, what we want to do is we're just going to close this out. One more thing you can see here is if you want to have, this shows where you're buying and selling and what you bought and sold at. Now, if you want that, just leave it on there. But if you want to take this off, this button up here, data series, you just want to click that and then scroll to the bottom, plot executions, and then just you can do markers only if you want to just see the arrows, or you can just do not plot at all, and that'll just take that off your chart completely, and then you'll have no clutter at all. Now, to create an actual at the money strategy for entering trades, we're going to want to go to just this drop down arrow and then click custom, and that's going to bring up our entry box. Now, first off, this order quantity, that's just going to be how many contracts we're doing. And so let's just say we're going to do just a 1 contract, 1 point scalp, 2 point stop. And so that's usually our default setup. So this, you can change it, but you're going to want to leave it on ticks. And so this is just going to go off how many ticks. And so for our profit, we're going for 4 ticks, which is 1 point. And then our stop loss is going to be 8 ticks. And so that's going to be 2 points. And then you can save this as template, and we can just save this as scalp. And then we can just go and click OK. And then that's just going to be right here. And then this at the money strategy is going to dictate what happens when you have one of these buy or sell stops. So if I just have a sell stop here and move it to the market to get filled, you can see that here is that 1 point scalp. Here's that buy limit. And then here is that stop loss. And you can easily move these. So if this was our trade, we'd want to put our stop loss, above a resistance level, and then we'd always want to be going for that scalp. You don't want to be moving your scalp around. You always want to be going for that 1 point no matter what. But here you can easily move these around, which is very helpful. Now, if we want to just set up a runner, we can go and make another one. We can go to custom, and then let's go with 4 contracts for this one. So we're going to have 3 that scalp, and then 4 that do a runner. So this is going to give, we're going to have 2 targets for this. So we're going to want to add a row here, and then we're going to change this quantity. So we're going to have the quantity for our first one, which is going to be our scalp. We're going to have that 3. Our stop loss is going to be 8. And then our profit is going to be 4. And then we want to make the runner stop loss to be the same. And then the profit for that be, we can just say 36 or something, because we want the runner target to be a lot higher up. And then so we can do save template, and then we can just do scalp plus runner for this setup. And so we can just click OK. And then if I just click buy market, you can see here is that setup. So right now that scalp already got filled. And then now we have our runner up here that is now going, and you can see our stop is really up here. And we want it to be high up just in case the market decides to take off and fill that scalp quickly. And then so with the scalp, we want to move it up to break even. Sorry, with the runner once that scalp gets filled. So, and then this runner now is basically kind of just, we're going to see it's free money at this point, right? And then with this runner, you can move the stop up as the market continues to climb higher, and you can move the sell limit higher as well as the market starts moving closer and closer. So let's say we're in this trade and we want to enter, we see another scalp, right? And so one thing we need to do is the system right now is going to actually change, or it's going to just add right onto your runner. So we want to go over here to at the money strategy and go to properties. And so we want to, this setting right here, we want to change it to keep at the money strategy template, and then click apply. And so what that's going to do is we want to buy into the market again. And so what it's going to do is it's going to refresh back to this. So if I just click in buy market, right, it's going to keep these order templates separate. And so we would now have this scalp here, and then also this runner. And so that is one setting you want to do, is because otherwise it's going to select one of these. So these are your current open strategies or trades, and it's going to go in, and if you clicked bot market, it would add right onto those. So you can see now this scalp has 7 contracts, and that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be having it be its own trade. And so you can then move, manage it as its own trade instead of managing it as one. Now, the entry here, it is going to move up to essentially what your average is. And so you might be up on one trade and down on another. And so it won't necessarily say your correct profit for one of the trades. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So if we just close these out, that is pretty much how you set up the at the money strategy. Now, one thing is you can do, I don't necessarily suggest doing this, but for those of you who want to, you can actually have your runner go to auto break even. So what we do here is under the order template, we just go to custom under the stop strategy, and then it brings up another setting here. And so what you want to do is you want to have this be go to auto break even, right? But we want it to be auto break even. And so what that means is that stop will, immediately go to our entry, and then the runner will have, if it comes back and hits us, we won't lose money on that runner. It'll only go break even. And so what we do here is we just add this to 5 ticks. And so the reason why you do 5 ticks, not 4, is because the market can sometimes hit 4 ticks and not actually fill your scalp trade. And you only want this runner stop to move up once your order or your scalp order gets filled. But one thing to keep in mind with that is because it has to wait for 5 ticks, if the market hits that 4 tick and fills your scalp and then proceeds to sell off, that runner, that's auto stop, is not going to move up. So that is one reason why I suggest not necessarily doing this, because in those times where it hits you exactly to the tick and fills your scalp then sells off, that runner's not going to auto break even. And so just to give you a quick example here, if we just click buy market again, this runner is now, if we hit our scalp here, this runner is going to get we're going to close out on our scalp stop. And then once it hits to 5 ticks, this runner is going to hit auto break even. So hopefully there's our scalp. And you can see here now that it's sitting at 4 ticks, that stop didn't move up because it had to go to 5 ticks. So if the market sold off there, it would have actually come and hit our stop without automatically moving up to break even. But you can see once it hit that 5 ticks, it hit that auto break even, and then we're good to go from there. So that's just one thing to caution and keep in mind with that auto stop strategy. And so maybe you want to just manually do it all the time. So one thing I want to quickly show is, let's say your chart is zoomed out and it's all wonky, right? And so to get back to the current price action and have it kind of fixed on your chart and locked so it will always stay in the chart, is there's these 2 buttons up here. You have this F that will lock it to the chart, and then this arrow that will scroll you to the most current bar. And so that's how you kind of get in and stay with the price action, and then the chart will update and keep the price action with the chart at all times when you have those clicked. And then to zoom in, you just want to click and drag the x-axis down here. If you just move the chart, you can actually break out of that function. And so here you're going to just have to click that arrow back, but it won't kind of break you out of that locked in feature. If you want to break out of that locked in feature, you're going to have to use left control and then move the chart around that way. And then again, easy to get back like this. So hopefully this was all really helpful in setting up an account. Now in terms of strategy, a course will be posted really soon, so definitely check out the description below for that. And of course, when it comes to trading and trying a new strategy just like this one, I would highly suggest always is using a demo account, because if going into any new strategy, if you have not mastered it, you're probably going to lose money without practicing it first. So always practice, practice, practice. That is the most important thing when coming along with a new trading strategy. If you have any questions with the NinjaTrader account setup or anything in general, feel free to comment below or reach out to me personally, and I will always be happy to answer your questions.